But, Mr Speaker, let me say this about Senate obstructionism. The Leader of the Opposition says that he may be obstructed by the Senate were he to become the government by the implementation of the goods and services tax. Well, let me tell him this, Mr Speaker. In the very unlikely, unhappy event of the opposition becoming the government of Australia, and in the event of him having as a centrepiece of his campaign the goods and services tax.
Point of order.
The Leader of the Opposition on a point of order.
A point of order under Standing Order 145, relevance. The question was quite specific about whether or not Treasury officers would be allowed to appear. And this is just part of the cover-up that's going on at the present time.
Order. The Prime Minister was asked. The Prime Minister was asked a question about his remarks and about the Senate inquiry. The Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker. The Leader of the Opposition believes I'm telling this objectively to the Leader of the Opposition, if he'll give me the chance. That is, in the event that the GST remains the centrepiece of the Opposition's policy. Mr Speaker, I say to the Opposition that in the unlikely event of them becoming a government, the Labor Party will not obstruct the passage of the GST legislation in the Senate, because I want it made very clear that a vote for Hewson is a vote for the GST. I want it made totally clear that a vote for the Hewson is a vote for the GST, that no Democrats or any other group will save Australia from that.
The House will come to order. The Prime Minister won't resume his seat. I thought the member for Menzies was going to take the point. Has the Prime Minister completed his answer?
Mr Speaker.
I thought the member for Menzies...
Mr Speaker.
The House will come...
Mr Speaker.
The House will come to order.
Let's not have the Leader of the Opposition hiding behind a feigned...
I warn the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Have the Leader of the Opposition hiding behind a... Let's not have the Leader of the Opposition hiding behind a feigned pretence that Senate
If the Deputy Leader of the Opposition interjects again, I'll name him.
Some way you won't get the GST. You can vote for Hewson, but in some way you won't get the GST. The fact is, Mr Speaker, if in the unlikely event of this country supporting...
Members on both sides will cease interjecting. The House will come to order. The Leader of the Opposition will cease. The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, even though the Labor Party regards this as an inequitable, vile, vicious tax, if you secure...
The Prime Minister won't resume his seat again. The House will come to order. Members of the Opposition will cease interjecting. The House will come to order. If the members on both sides will cease interjecting. Order. If the member for Keating interjects again, I'll name him. The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, let's make this quite clear. The Leader of the Opposition wants to take the view and somehow hide behind the Democrats, but you can vote for Hewson but not get the GST. The fact is, Mr Speaker, if the public of Australia were to decide in the unhappy and unlikely event of electing a coalition government, and if they can establish a mandate for the GST,
the member for Goldstein,
notwithstanding the Labor Party's primary objection to a GST, we would not obstruct it in the Senate.
The House will come to order.
That's right. So you won't hide behind Senator Coulter or the Democrats. If you go to a poll and promise the GST and you win the election, the GST is what the public of Australia will get. And so there'll be no hiding. There'll be no hiding behind Senator Coulter. The Democrats.
The House will come to order. There is far too much noise. Members on both sides will cease interjecting. If there is the next person who interjects, I will name him. The Prime Minister.
Speaker, the Liberal Party are talking about Senate obstructionism. They're saying they anticipated by having a double dissolution of Parliament immediately after the Parliament is formed. They're saying if our GST is obstructed by the Democrats, many Liberals will hope that people vote for them on the basis they can vote for Hewson but not for the GST. Well, we're saying if you secure a mandate, despite the fact we regard this tax as totally objectionable and inequitable, if you get a mandate for it, we will not obstruct it in the Senate. For Hewson, a vote for Hewson means a vote for the GST unambiguously. So we're making it quite clear. So, Mr Speaker, we're making it quite clear there's no way you're going to hide behind Senator Coulter or the Democrats or talk about Labor obstructionism, but let's be rid of the humbug, Mr Speaker.
Order. The House will come to order.
Let's be rid of the humbug that the Senate isn't of an obstructionist chamber. Let's be rid of the humbug when the Leader of the Opposition is already talking about a double dissolution within weeks of a coalition, of what he hopes is a coalition victory. The fact is, Mr Speaker, that the Senate has no right to obstruct the policies of the government in the lower house. That is the principle. The Senate has no right to obstruct the principal policies of the government in the lower house. That's our view. It ought to be your view. And in the unlikely event of you winning, in the fact that you can claim a mandate for the GST, what we're making clear is a vote for Hewson will be a vote for the GST. There'll be no hiding behind the Democrats. Now, you, in your own silly way, understand the deadliness of that remark. You know what it means. Yes, I know. Laugh with your silly feigned giggle. But you know that you're always hoping that many people would vote for Hewson, thinking he wouldn't go through with the GST, that he won't get a mandate for it, that somehow the processes of the upper house, the Democrats will campaign to vote for us to stop the GST. The fact of the matter is, Mr Speaker, I don't believe the public of this country will vote for a GST, but in the event that they elect a Hewson opposition to the government of this country, in that unlikely, unhappy event, they will get a GST from Dr Hewson. So, Mr Speaker, let's make this quite clear.
The Leader of the Opposition will cease
interjecting. This party of ours absolutely opposes the GST as an inequitable, unuseful, totally unfair tax. But let's not hide behind this indignation about these pansies in the Senate now this morning up there talking about...
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, point of order.
Order.
I raise Standing Order 75. That is a specific and unforgivable breach of Standing Order 75.
Order. Order. Both sides of the House.
Mr Speaker, I ask that you direct the Prime Minister to withdraw
the National Party will resume its seat. Members on both sides will cease interjecting. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. The Prime Minister might withdraw
Mr.
that.
Mr Speaker, to have the senators this morning debating these issues and feigning indignation just brings one a belly laugh.
I'm going to ask you again to tell the story. It's one of my favourite stories from the book, which I had never heard from you before. And in there is Paul Keating just admitting to a very slight glimmer of self-doubt. And it was in November of '92, again at the same time as you're doing the Redfern speech. You're thinking, it suddenly occurs to you that Australians have worked out that they can get rid of you and have John Hewson without the GST. Yeah. And you didn't really consult anyone other than, I think, Stephen Smith, now who subsequently became a Defence Minister, but he was your political advisor. You sounded your idea out to him and he said, "Oh, for God's sake, don't do that, Paul, that'd be a disaster." So pick the story up. What exactly was the plan?
What happened? So Hewson's on a roll with the GST, you know, and of course the press gallery giving him a free ride, you know, and he's a new made person. He's not really a nasty politician like the rest of us. He's really a pure economic guy, and he's got fight back, you know, Acme fight back, and he's going to give us the GST. So in the middle of all this, and I'm behind at this stage, so I said at one question time, well, I'll tell you this. If you win the election, we, the Labor Party in opposition, will pass the GST. Because if you get a mandate for the GST, we'll accept that mandate and pass it in the Senate. And of course the Libs just were ecstatic.
They couldn't get out of the parliament quick enough to start the party.
I know, they couldn't get out. And of course our crowd said, oh, we've lost the election. He's killed us in one sentence, you know. And I thought to myself, God, maybe I have. You know, maybe I have. I mean, maybe I've just judged this wrong, because I want to say to the public, you want to take the nasty guy with the Thatcherite policy, you get the GST. You can't have him without the GST, because we'll pass it. Because they thought, oh, well, we're tired of that, Mr Keating, the Labor Party. We can take that nice, clean Dr Hewson, and we won't have the GST because the Labor Party will down it in the Senate, right? So I'm saying, no, we won't. We'll pass it in the Senate, right? So, of course, my crowd were just completely dispirited. So of course, I thought to myself, God, what do I do here? Because, you know, the Parliamentary Labor Party had just virtually folded its tent. And so I ring up Lynham to do the 7:30 report on the ABC, and Lynham's calling us to do an interview. And I thought, I'll do this, but I have to do this really well. Now, I used to do acupuncture every Friday night in Canberra, every Friday night. And I had this bloke, he was a stiff upper lip army officer of all people from Duntroon, who used to...
I didn't realise acupuncture was on Duntroon's
anyway,
agenda.
No, he was great. He had me off pat. He could put me to sleep in 30 seconds. Needle, places you put the needle, it relaxes you, renews you and makes you brighter, calmer. So I ring him up, I said, look, what about coming over to the lodge tonight? I think I might need a dose of the acupuncture, you see. So he comes to the lodge, and I tell him what the problem is. Anyway, he takes me upstairs, and he puts the knee. Sure enough, out I go for a sleep. I said, don't wake me quickly. Give me half an hour at least. So, of course, I wake up, well, I'm as calm can be. You know, I'm full of confidence about the whole thing, you know. So, of course, I go down to the ABC, and there's Lynham. He used to have a twitch Lynham. He was twitching up there, and he's ready to sort of tear me to pieces. And here it is. I've just belted the ball right across the stadium, you know, with all of the confidence in the world, you know. And that television opportunity, that television appearance got me out of that hole and buried Hewson. You know, buried Hewson. So it just shows you've got to take the risks. You've got to be an instinct player, take the risks. But you need acupuncturists beside you.